All right. So as I said, Mr. JIDE KOSOKO, Prince JIDE KOSOKO is actually one of the legendary actors, Nollywood actors out of Nigeria. Highly celebrated 71-year-old man. He's also a director, producer. You know, I guess he ended up on Honest Bunch podcast. Let me talk to our elders for a second. Our elders, I think you should have a conversation with a very wise Gen Z, not millennials. Oh, there's some weirdo millennials out there, not Gen X like myself. Oh, like find a Gen Z, a very, very wise, emotionally intelligent Gen Z. By the grace of God, I'm raising some of them here. Actually, these ones are not Gen Zs. These ones are like Gen, what do you call them? Alpha or something. They are like after Gen Zs. Okay. They exist though, but talk to them. They understand your point of view and they'll help you. It's very dangerous to go on a place like the internet now and talk, but let's listen to what he has to say about sex for roles and stuff like that.
I have spoken.
Daddy, yes. You know, you mentioned that discipline is key, right? And we've had situations where maybe young actors or even young actors come out to complain about being sexually
sexually harassed.
Mm-hmm. You know, like how do people that like
what is sexually harassed? I don't understand.
Like sex for roles.
Sex for roles.
Okay, let's pause there for a second. Do we need to go any further? I think we should, because this is opportunity to educate people, okay, and maybe educate some of our parents. There's a good chance even my parents will talk like that. They don't really understand how it's a disconnect. So first of all, disconnect in languages. It's a language barrier issue here. It's a language barrier issue there. Yeah, I don't want to be too quick to call them emotionally unintelligent. No, it's not necessary. These are our elders. If anything, speaking to my father, whenever I'm patiently speaking to my father, it's such a, and you guys have seen him, he was here as my guest. It's an emotionally intelligent human being. But there's a but, like this but, big old but that we have to watch out for, and it's language barrier. So if it's not a controlled environment, oh yeah, they can miss ya. Oh yeah, very quickly, very fast. Let's go back a little bit.
Harass, you know, like how do people that like
what is sexually harassed? I don't understand.
Like sex for roles.
Sex for roles.
If I say I need to come and warm my bed so that I can give you this role, and you say no, you don't want, go, you don't want, they cannot force you to do that.
Should I move any further? Should I go any further? Do I need to go with his full chest? All right. I'm not laughing at him. I'm laughing at language barrier is a bastard. But when you had coconut head to language barrier, another level. Let's, with all due respect, our parents, they do have a certain level of coconut head. they do have a certain level of coconut head, and yeah. Let me see here. Let's use it as an opportunity to. I want you to be patient. If you hear anybody talk like this, maybe you know better. What you know better is not necessarily them. What you know better is in terms of how we need to push completely against that, and you need to be patient and educate them. Take it as an opportunity to educate them. Okay. Let's authentically answer the question. Okay, that is right there sitting on Google, right? But people will, maybe some people with coconut head may attempt to use common sense to answer the question or to define sexual harassment, but on the screen right here is probably the minimum you should be willing to at least share with them. And then obviously you have to break it down into nuances and context. Okay, what did he say? He said, if I ask you to come and warm my bed in exchange of
sexually harassed.
You know, like how do people that you, like
what is sexually harassed?
So that question right there was not designed for you to go and pull up a dictionary meaning. That's a rhetorical question. What it means is you need to listen a little bit more. Listen actively. No, it's going to test you. If you are Gen Z woke person, you're going to get triggered. Don't get triggered. It's not the moment for you to get triggered. Just calm down, okay? Drink water. Say, Daddy, hold on 1 second. Let me drink water. So that question was actually rhetorical, right? You might even say, what do you mean by what is sexual harassment, sir? And then he will probably open up for you and say, I'm trying to tell you I don't believe in that. He will just tell you straight up. But I think it's, to be fair to Prince Doctor, he said we should call him Dr. Otumba Prince JIDE KOSOKO, who I respect. Not, I don't know him personally, but just as an actor, veteran actor, director, producer. Some might even argue he's an elderly statesman. Like, this is part of our pride here, right? To be fair to him, this was a good interview. He shared a lot of, I watched the whole thing. I like to watch the whole thing so I don't take them out of context. So I have watched the whole thing. But this one right here, so why are you picking on this one part? Because it's the small poison. That's all it takes. It takes the small kinky poison to destroy the food. So we must address it, right? So
I don't understand.
Like sex for rules.
Sex for rules.
If I say I need to come and warm my bed so that I can give you this role, and you say no, you don't want, go, you don't want, they cannot force you to do that. Forget.
now he said they cannot force you to do that. How accurate is that? Can they force you to do that? Can they actually force you to do that? Let's address it. See, I'm taking my time. That's how much time you have to take. If you're in front of an elderly statesman and they mistakenly, by mistake, because I know that this man probably doesn't ask for sex for roles, okay? But he's not aware that he encourages it. He's not aware. It's not, no. He probably will even argue that I'm not encouraging it, but he needs to understand that his words are powerful, and there are people that look up to him, and not just him. Every elderly people that will watch this and they try to defend, like we're too sensitive, we're too woke, and like it's. Anyway, let's go back to, can they force you to do it? What is the definition? It says sexual harassment is unwelcome sexual conduct. Okay, but I didn't mean sexual conduct. Well, you said warm your bed. Okay, let's just pretend it didn't say warm your bed. It's just because it's going to say more. It's going to say more, right? But it's just, I toasted you. I like you. I love you, like Nigerians will call it, right? It's just a toast. As in, like, I just have, but I also have a role for you. I have something that could mean your livelihood to you, right? And is it possible that am I forcing you indirectly, maybe subtly, maybe subconsciously, maybe I didn't mean to force you, but am I effectively forcing you, right? I didn't mean to force you. In fact, it's going to take me 60 years to figure out that I might be forcing you, but maybe in 2025, maybe I can learn possibly that maybe I didn't mean to force you, but effectively I'm forcing you. I'm sorry, my daughter, I didn't mean that. Or men sometimes. Sexual conduct that creates a hostile or offensive environment. I didn't mean to offend you, but could I be offensive even though I didn't mean to offend you? Listen, I woke up this morning, I forgot to brush my teeth. My breath is offensive, but I didn't mean to offend you. I couldn't smell myself. I couldn't smell, even though I did this, I still can't smell my own breath. I didn't mean to offend you, but I was offensive. Is it possible that I could be offensive? Offensive environment. I said, come and warm my bed. In my head, I felt like you could say no. You said no, it wasn't a big deal. But then the next moment, I gave somebody who was actually deserving of the role. You start to feel funny. You start to feel like, is it because you didn't come and warm me in my bed? But then you turn around and then you call me out on it. And then what did I do? I suspended you. Yeah, I'll just suspend you. This is a nuisance. Women should be addressing their mental stability before they come to workplace, right? Does that sound familiar? And it can include unwanted advances. What is unwanted advances? It's an advance. Just say no. Just say no. Is it wrong for a man to just toast a woman? Yeah. No, it is not wrong. But could it be unwanted advances? Okay, what about after the first one? What if you tell her that the way you roll your waist, it must be something in bed. What do you mean? By the way, that's what Senator Natasha allegedly said. That's what she alleges that she's added on to it. That Akpabio said something like, the way you roll your waist. I'm like, may God help you. Omo, could you be offensive without intending to be offensive? That's when it crosses the line sometimes, unknown to you, but it's your job to have foresight. Gentlemen, it's your job. It's part of your responsibility to have some foresight to how your behavior can actually rub people off the wrong way, make an environment feel unsafe for them, especially when there's power dynamics involved. If you happen to be a Senate president and they happen to be just a senator, if you happen to be a part of a ruling party and they happen to be a part of the opposing party, if they happen to be a fine girl and they already feel threatened because every time a fine girl moves around, our attitude changes. Remember that, Baba, on RS News? Our attitude can change a little bit. It doesn't mean any harm. You see a fine girl, a fine woman, it is their beauty that is their problem. Wait, what? Does it sound familiar? We're getting somewhere. A request for sexual favors. Okay, that's just one of many, right? And other verbal or physical conduct of sexual nature. Okay, Baba is still talking, Sha. Hey, kudos to, with all due respect to JIDE KOSOKO and our elders that might struggle with, I think it's an English barrier thing. He's a well-spoken guy. When I say English issue, it doesn't mean you cannot formulate sentence. So that's not what it means. So it's something deeper. It's a moving target. Slangs might be involved. Evolution of languages or cultural or social environment can be involved in what I'm saying. But sometimes it starts and can actually end at the way we structure our sentences. What did he say? Because even he said, what is sexual harassment? I knew what he meant when he said that. It was a rhetorical question. It's about to like sexual today, sexual harassment, all these terminologies, all these woke and sensitive people. I knew exactly where it was going. So in that moment, which by the way, the host did a fantastic job because he was comfortable enough to say more. At least we can correct it. Right? He said like today, well, our woke people sensitive. Anyway, he's going to tell us more. But so I want to play more. Not to pick on Prince JIDE KOSOKO. If he happens to watch this, or somebody like him watch this, I want them to reflect and really pay attention to what they are saying. Okay.
Forget about it. I know some don't want. They cannot force you to do that. Forget about it. I know some ladies that equally come into the industry with determination that by the time I sleep with this and sleep with that and sleep with that, I will get my name.
Okay, so what he just said is that because there are some Olosho level type of ladies that will come because they're already predestined to sleep with you to get roles anyway, somehow that should equal to it's okay. That's the only way I can translate that. But I think he's going to correct that in a minute. So let me give him a pass on that. But before sometimes you don't have a chance to correct it. That's why we must watch our mouth. But he's going to correct it.
So all this sex for role thing, I don't do it. I have never done it.
I believe him when he says I've never done it. I believe him. I believe him when he said that. But it's not about Baba JIDE KOSOKO particularly. It's about everybody else that will listen to this, that will do one of two things. That will say, now, go back when the sexual harassment sense. Those people, that's one side. Another side is people that will not listen the way I'm listening right now. They will just drag Baba. You can even tell in the interview that Baba is already like feeling like you guys are going to try to drag me, Abi. He was already on the defense when it comes to that. A common ordinary toast in Nyimu. They want to believe this woman wants them. For most women, it is a forced choice due to economic conditions. Yes. So, listen, he's saying more. He's saying more. So now he's saying, since some of them come because they're already ready to sleep with somebody, nobody forced you to do it. That phrase, nobody forced you to do it, does not negate the fact that you can still be guilty of sexual harassment.
In my life, I have never done it, and I will not do it.
It's not enough that you've never done it, sir. We're also responsible to our words, which is what this whole segment is about.
But the truth is that when two matured people see themselves, how will you call, as an actress, how will you say somebody will not be in that industry that will love you?
Okay, so he went straight for love, not even like, see, I told you it's an English issue. Now, if you notice, he did something like this. He did this, right? He did this, meaning equal. And unfortunately, it is not equal. Senate president is not equal to senator. In any, they're equal technically because they're both senators, but not really. It's a presiding officer. It's a part of the ruling party. In reality, these are the things they would assess in a court system that social media might not assess. They will assess all the nuances that is not necessarily obvious or technical, right? They will assess beyond technicalities, right? To make sure that that there's actual in real life that as close as possible to fairness, right? So when he did this, it's not accurate. So that at that point, he obviously was already wrong, right? Because again, when there's power dynamics involved, then this definition might need to be expanded. Make sense? The definition, even the dictionary meaning, might need to will be expanded in real life. Okay. Jim, hello, how you doing? Yes, they can force you by the way they treat you afterwards. Yes, even subconsciously, even if they don't mean to treat you anyhow, you can still be forcing them. Yep, because now their sense of judgment is tampered with, because once upon a time you were chasing them down, suddenly you stop chasing them. They can actually interpret that as you're trying to harm them, because what did Natasha say ever since the nightclub incident, right? So even if that was your intention or not, it doesn't matter anymore. You put them in a position where their sense of safety is being questioned, right? Mr. Dara said, MOP, in fairness to Prince JIDE KOSOKO, an average Nigerian man don't know what sexual harassment, because daily is a normal way of life to most of them against the woman. See, I want to be careful with saying that I know exactly what you mean, right? But there are men that are kind of aware of this for the longest. There are, and I want to be fair to my brothers to not generalize them. But I will say this, I will yield to this, that they are common. Doesn't mean they are majority though. It doesn't mean they are majority. But the common ones, they are enough to make women feel uncomfortable. I'll yield to that, you know. But there are men who are already aware of this, and we just need them to, we need to educate more people and more people. Exactly, Akbabio just observed the waste. Now we have international crisis. Problems. I don't want peace. Problems always. Uncle Patrick, sir, welcome, sir. Say, JIDE KOSOKO for my hand. Let him agree that his colleagues do it. There are no rules against sexual harassment in the industry. That's because if he's in this argument, in this interview, he was making a case for need for government body in Nollywood a lot. But if he's the one making case for them, that means he's telling me that once they bring up the issue of sexual harassment, at least as of now, hopefully people like him will listen to this and know that they need to have some conversations around this and educate themselves. That means he's saying he might be dismissive of the topic of sexual harassment. So of course they get away with it because to him, you said no, Abi. So what is the issue, right? Chia said that's true. Jobs should start sensitizing their employees by doing sexual harassment trainings, conflict of interest. As a matter of fact, I'm bringing on board right now a corporate client, who all they do is create training around this kind of issues, compliance issues. Okay, so it's real. Nigerians need to educate themselves. It's real. So, I'm agreeing with Mr. Dayo now in this context that if 2 out of 10 people think it's normal behavior, then we have a problem. That's one too many. Then we have a problem. This is how old people roll, though. I'm not surprised at his comments. So we must fix it. It's just love. Nowadays, women don't take love lightly. It's just love. I'm sorry, but I don't believe Uncle JIDE Kosoko. You think he's done it? I just chose to believe him. It's just a belief, right? I don't know what the facts are, right? God have mercy upon us.
Even if you don't love that person, you must see somebody that likes you. Either as a producer.
Let's go back.
Say somebody will not be in that industry that will love you. Even if you don't love that person, you must see somebody that likes you. Either as a producer.
Either as a producer or...
But it's not on a professional ground. Like, if that's what they are coming for. I mean, this is a professional setting.
Yes.
So they shouldn't be able
what you
to
will
say
use as
things
a
like
weapon.
that. Yeah.
Nobody's
So shout out to, what's her name? I always forget her name. This lady, she's what's her name? Oh, Tone. I think her name is Tone. Yeah. All right. The Gen Z body of the show. She's a professional because they're trying to help him, but forget that thing. I don't know if you can help him.
Setting.
Yes.
So they shouldn't be able
what you
to
will
say
use as
things
a
like
weapon.
that. Yeah.
nobody's. Oh God, I'm not making case
No,
Okay, sir.
we're not.
for anybody,
Yeah.
but I'm saying that there is no industry that it doesn't happen.
All right, that's not what they wanted you to address, sir. Even the way he just said this statement, I am hopeful that he can listen to this kind of stuff and say, you know, you're right. I need to adjust on that statement. I believe that he's a guy that will listen to this and will say, you know what, you're right. We should not encourage it. One is one too many. Just 2 or 3 out of every 10 people being harassed in their workplace where they're supposed to feel safe is just one too many. I don't have to wait until it's my daughter or it's my sister. We must make sure we do everything in our power to make it feel safe. I understand that men might take a liking to a person, but they must know where to draw the line to not make a fellow professional person feel uncomfortable. There's no need to bring in, of course, they will love each other. There's no need to bring that. That's another conversation entirely, right? What we need to tell people is to be guided, right? If you have to use. Let's continue.
So how do we curb that?
I will not mention it here, the names, but I know of even a magistrate that paved our own way for our own success.
In Nigeria.
Nobody can force me to say it.
No, we don't
I'm
know.
saying voluntarily. You understand? In Nigeria, I took it to that level. Doctors and nurses in God.
No, I sure.
They're not the. No, it's a question.
How long have I been muted? Okay. What was the last thing you guys heard? Anyway, let's continue the conversation. They will just be normalizing nonsense. They don't want to change their mind. They have coconut head is the point I was making. Respectfully, they do have coconut head. You cannot correct them when cameras are on because they're already in a defensive mode. You cannot correct them in public or in the presence of other people. You must have the skill set to have some patience and have a conversation, put up some case studies for them, and come from a graceful standpoint if you're going to help them. Now, but imagine this person presiding over a government body governing Nollywood, right? And if you don't know how to address these issues, or you come from a prideful step, because you too, as a coconut head who knows everything, Gen Z, if you approach them wrongly, they will just say, "Oh, forget that thing." They just say, "Forget that thing." And by the way, there are other people, your colleagues, who are willing to yield to them because of atenuje and other reasons. Some of them ignorance. Okay, so being that it happens in industry doesn't make it right. It needs to stop. Yep. Generalize and deflect. Shalaye is a bastard. Daddy is doubling down. Yeah. Does that make it right, Baba? We need be better. Ola, you're on mute since 7:22. Okay, just for the okay, for how long was I on mute for? They're doing it doesn't make it right. Okay, we can't hear anything after Baba Mishad. Okay, all right, I think I've addressed it. Am I back on? Yes. Just tell me I'm back on now. If you tell me I'm off, tell me I'm back on now. These people. Everybody, you'll have repeat every damn thing you said. Oh, because I know it was good. Even in private, they won't listen. You need to have a certain type of skill set. Okay. Thank you. Uncle Jake, Uncle JIDE KOSOKO, we all know they do it, but it's like you're promoting bad behavior. Uncle JIDE KOSOKO, how do you advise your daughter with similar experience? All right, so I'm back on. All right, so let's keep going. I don't know why it muted me.
If somebody introduces anything to you, if you are not interested, say no. But if you want that role, by all means, and that means you want to dance to his tune. I'm not saying it's right to have introduced that to you. But if he says it one way or the other, and you fall to it, that's your business. How does that concern the whole world?
Okay, so first of all, it's not a he thing. Women do harass men in workplaces. By the way, we have a case of, in fact, I may just bring that up right now because all of this is merging together, small. We have a case of a young lady. Let me see if I can pull that up. A teacher who was actually, this is also linked to somebody making an argument for single motherhood, right? And of course, when people feel the need to shalaye, they will miss nya. So in that case, they kept defending and making it about the he or she thing, gender thing. It is not, these things are not gender thing. We do know that certain offenses will fall on one side than the others. We get that. That's very true. Like, for example, our society is not as safe for women and children as it is for men. Why do we say that? Because the predators tend to be men. But guess who tends to be the protector? Also men. So if you make that a case of gender warrior for yourself, you're wrong. You're wrong. And if you don't correct that, God will not forgive you. I will allow God to forgive you. Not like God is my subordinate. I'm just saying, I will pray to God to not forgive you if you don't get rid of every sense of gender warrior in you. These are societal issues, but there are some things because of our social construct that makes men vulnerable to certain things and women vulnerable to certain things. There are double standards on all ends. But I'll go to this other video after we finish this Elder JIDE KOSOKO issue. Let's keep going.
But stop using, I don't even also want to say this. I know of
Then don't
some
say it.
popular actresses
Oh my God, he's gonna say
that
it.
passed through that method to attain their level. Now they are complaining about it.
Oh wow.
Maybe they are complaining about it because it wasn't funny going through that. It's just like what you've gone through in your life, and you don't want your
Your
children
younger people
Uh-huh.
going
through it, and you're protected.
God, continue protecting them.
He said, forget about that. Just protect the children. How do you protect the children? By coming up with policies that prevent the perpetuation of that prevent the perpetrators of this type of offense. You see, ignorance is not an excuse. Ignorance is real, but it's not an excuse. Ignorance, it's real, but it's not an excuse. You can see here that what's her name? I always forget their name. It's only Nedu's name that I remember, and Nedu is no longer there. Ezine is her name, I think. Yeah, she was trying to help him. Like maybe they didn't like that they had to go through that to win. He said, "Good, protect them." How, sir?
Continue advising
Continue,
the young ones.
continue advising the wrong ones. I can't resist the urge at this point.
How, Sway?
How? How do we protect the young ones?
How, Sway?
Continue to protect the young one. They really protected, and rightfully so. He deserves to be protected, but we must correct all of this. We must correct it. Let's see. Mr. Dio says, I think I get the angle JIDE KOSOKO is coming from. Sexual harassment is very difficult to prove since it is not always pre-planned. It happens mostly suddenly and unexpected. Toasting can easily be mistaken for sexual harassment. I did another session. I'll see if I can link it later on why toasting is not the same thing as sexual harassment. They can overlap. I think that's what you're saying. But it's not that difficult. You just have to be open-minded enough to say, okay, if people are complaining about something, there must be something to it. That's all. If enough people, which is one person, by the way, is complaining about something, there must be something to it. The least I could do is listen, hear it. Same thing we're asking the Senate to do about Natasha's situation. Give it what we call a fair hearing. Then obviously if enough people are now complaining about it, then we have to create some policies. What policies? Policies could be simply educational in nature. So for example, sexual harassment for most parts in job places, it starts with education. You just educate people what can constitute sexual harassment, because again, it's a vague area. We don't even want to have to go and prove anything. We just want people to feel safe at work. It's as simple as that, right? So, and it's highly unlikely that you expressed your romantic interest in a woman and she turns around and call it sexual harassment. I say highly unlikely. Is it likely? Yes. It is highly unlikely that that's what she's talking about. But if it's a repetitive, unwanted advances, right, as interpreted by her, not you. I know you want it to be interpreted by you too, but if you could interpret it, obviously it'd be easy. But sometimes it's her interpreting it that way. Bottom line is that she doesn't feel safe. So maybe it's not even sexual, but it's harassment nonetheless. Then Baba JIDE KOSOKO must listen. And then we must continue to encourage other people to have policies in place to at least educate people on it. Okay. Why do I say that? Because if it becomes your daughter, then you will listen. Let's not wait until it becomes anybody's daughter, right? Or anybody's sister. Let's not wait before we listen. Mario says, let's just make it uncomfortable for women to be in your industry. Then they get offended when people accuse their women of being sex workers. Wahala. They do. Yeah, exactly. It's even their unwillingness to learn. Nedu is no longer there. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's not. And we miss him. I miss his coconutted. I was just about to say house. Someone should protect Uncle JIDE KOSOKO from speaking on some topics. That's what I'm saying. Presidents of country are actually protected from speaking on certain topics. Why do you think they have advisors? right? That's the whole point, you know. Okudara says, just that some men don't know when to stop when toasting goes out. See, exactly. If somebody say no, they might still be smiling at you, but you already don't enter sexual harassment zone long ago. But they keep saying no. Some of them even pride themselves in able to brush it off, right? And some of them will come here and defend you. Sabi, why don't you just say no? See, everybody's threshold is different. You cannot use the way somebody handled it to judge another person's how they handle it. That's why you have public interest and public policies in place to protect everyone and not just one person who knows how to dust it off, right? They believe this notion that women says no when they mean yes. Lobbish thinking. Sometimes it's true, but you must protect your livelihood, gentlemen. Sometimes it's true. Some women actually believe that. Some women actually enjoy the chase, right? So you have to read the room. You have to, if you don't cross the line by mistake and you get corrected on it, you must be willing to say, you know, my bad. Back off of the situation immediately without arguing like a coconut head. Just if somebody says, on TV a few days ago, Mr. Wonderful from, what's the show? Shark Tank. Those of you in UK may not know what Shark Tank is. It's a show where they sell business ideas, right? Was on TV with this other lady. What's his name? Mr. Wonder. Maybe see if we can put it up, actually. It's very easy to offend people. Mr. Wonderful and what's her name? Angela White. I remember. Oh my God. I can't believe I just remember that. Right? Mr. Wonderful and Angela White, they were on TV and it got confrontational really very fast, quickly. It got confrontational very fast, quickly. Let me see if I can pull this up. Yep. Let's see if I can. Why is this thing making me verify now? Get out of here. Okay. All right. So let me see. Yeah, let me play this for you as an example. Just as an example. I won't make it a whole topic. Actually, I probably should. I'll cut it out. I'll be right back, guys. I'm here today, so why not? Why not? I'll be right back, guys. It's your love that I've been missing. I miss all your hugs, your touching and kissing. Me love on the floor, the couch in the kitchen. One love enough, we done enough.